We go back to that escalating trade war now in the United States, which in one way or another will involve Australia. Joining us is Peter Switzer, the founder of the Switzer Report. Pete, good morning to you. It doesn't directly involve us because we're talking about Canada, Mexico and China here, but how exposed are we on the peripheries?
Yeah, the direct effects are not in any way clear at this point in time because we may well be absolved from any tariff punishment from Donald Trump. But the bottom line is there are positives and negatives. Obviously, Mexico and Canada they're going to have to find different markets, and in finding different markets, they'll be cutting prices. So there could be stuff that we buy from overseas that becomes cheaper as a consequence of the tariffs. But China, on the other hand, a 10% duty, it could affect their growth. And of course, they're our most important trading partner, so there could be a knock-on and indirect effect there. But also, if you look at the potential for inflation in the US because of the tariffs that are imposed, that might mean that US inflation remains higher than expected. It could mean that there are less rate cuts in the US. Our Reserve Bank could easily play it very conservatively on rate cuts, because I think that the world is going to have a global trade war. Yeah, so
this could, right. So this would be a factor for Michelle Bullock and her board at the next meeting.
That's right. I think the February rate cut, I think, is a very good chance, Peter. I'd be prepared to back nearly all your annual salary on that. But the bottom line, I think, is that going down the track, if they think this global tariff is going to become a war, is going to become a much wider thing, they would be very careful about cutting rates very, very quickly. Right. And remember, the CBA thinks 4 rate cuts this year. That might be put on hold if this tariff war escalates.
Here's an unpopular view. Would there be a chance that Michelle Bullock keeps rates as they are for 3 more months of data, just to be sure?
Well, I think given the history of the Reserve Bank, I think that's probably a reasonable argument. I'm just hoping, remember, this is the first female Reserve Bank governor, so we might actually get a much better result than the males in the past. As Paul Keating has said in the past, the RBA is always late to the party. Let's hope Ms Bullock is actually early to the party. And I do really think that a rate cut is overdue. But you're right, if she plays a conservative game, she could easily hold it for 3 months.